you ready to master the waves of medical device product development? Well, wax up your surfboard because you are listening to Inspired by Imua. And here is your medical device product development expert, that Hawaiian-hearted hostess who will help you hang 10, Meghan Alonso.
And aloha! You're listening to Inspired by Imua, where we help you master the waves of medical product development. Each week, we interview guests that educate, guide, and inspire to give you and your product the skills you need to hang 10. If this is your first time listening, Imua is spelled I-M-U-A, and it's a Hawaiian word. It means to advance forward with passion despite rough waves. There are plenty of those medical product development, but keep listening because we've got you covered. So my guest today is part of a startup based out of Argentina. So he's my first guest to just appear on the show from abroad. So that's pretty cool and exciting. And I want you to stick around. I'll give him an introduction. But before, I think this really dovetails nicely into his journey. And we'll get into a program that he's a part of called MedTech Innovator, which is a great accelerator program. And my program that I have called Invention Idea to Profitable Product is a pre-accelerator program. So it gives you the skills that you need to build your business to be fundable and to win those pitch competitions that you're going to, and to even create a pitch. And you can do that all in 100 days. So if you want more information on that, on how to be a part of it, you can grab actually a free training that just kind of explains some more details. And that free training is available at imua-services.com/3 ways. And that's the number 3. So go check that out. So now back to my first abroad guest. So he's part of a startup called Apnosystems, and Apnosystems works with pulse oximetry and TENS technology, but that has been around for quite a while. And what they've done is just put it together in a different way. A lot of that is innovation, looking at things that exist, but using it for something else and combining it with other things. So they've done that to help prevent hypoxia in babies, which is just a shortage of oxygen in the blood. So the startup is called Apnosystems, and my guest today is Ezequeil Aleman. All right. So like I said, I'm excited to have my guest on. We're going to dig into startup life. So Ezequeil, are you ready to hang 10?
I am, Meghan. Thank you.
You're welcome. So tell us about your company. And you are unique in that you're my first guest from abroad. So fill us in there.
Oh, thank you. So I'm currently in Argentina, where our startup is based, and I have to say that I'm actually, I like to say I'm the pretty face in the startup, and the brains is my partner, Dr. Diego Delia. He's the one that came up with the technology that we're trying to bring across and over to the market from this remote country south of the world. Mm-hmm. The technology, what Diego is a very experienced anesthesiologist. He's from a family of doctors, and he came up with this brilliant idea of using 30-year-old pulse oximeter technology along with TENS, which is a practice that has been around for a long, long time, combine them and come up with a device that has the possibility of saving life of babies under enhanced risk that could suffer extreme cases of hypoxia. Basically, he came up with a wearable device that monitors oxygen saturation in the blood and heart rate frequency, as many medical devices do, with the difference that this one is a wearable device. It monitors for these vital signs, and when they fall below certain thresholds, which, by the way, respond to a proprietary algorithm also developed by Diego, the certain alarms get triggered. But it not only triggers an alarm that warns the caretaker, whether in the hospital or at home, it also produces an autonomous stimulus that could induce the baby to start moving, to start breathing again normally, and to bring back oxygen saturation levels to normal. So this is it's a therapeutic action that it's very, very unique. It has been patented. The patent has been granted in the United States by the USPTO in record time. It's also been granted in other markets like New Zealand and Australia. And it is the patent is pending in Europe, in several Asian countries, and of course our very own Latin America, in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico, which are the major Latin markets.
Mm-hmm. When, right now, as of this recording, it's April of 2017. So when did you guys start collaborating and working on this technology?
So the technology, Diego came up with the technology in 2013. He came up with the idea. It got patented first, and that is a fantastic thing that I'd like to share with the audience of your podcast. At the beginning, Diego was very secretive about his invention, basically because the patent attorney told him to. The patent attorney told him not to discuss the invention with anybody because it was too risky. So he wouldn't even talk to his closest friends, among whom I have the luxury of including myself, about his invention. So he said, "Oh, I've got this great idea, but I can't I can't discuss it with you." And he basically waited a whole year, which was the period where the attorney told him, before he gave us and shared the details of what he was doing and what he was working on. And that, I'm not going to say it set us back, but it took away the opportunity of progressing and moving faster.
Yes, I was actually waiting for that. I was going to ask. So if he was discussing it with no one, how were you able to do market research?
None at all. So he was working with the attorneys, and that was it. And from a technical perspective, he obviously did a fantastic job because the patent came through, and it came through very, very quickly. But it did not progress from the business side.
Yep.
He did not benefit from sharing and discussing and growing together with and collaboration. So once the lawyers gave the green light and he was able to discuss his invention with people, we started talking about it. Again, these were friendship type discussions. They were not business discussions, but it helped growing. And so I was completely involved in the development of the product. At the time, he partnered up with Clinton Allen. He is our partner based out of San Francisco, California. He's got a very robust background in a regulatory framework for medical devices in the United States.
And so that's interesting so being in Argentina, you probably knew, okay, I probably need a connection in the US to really help get some traction over there, get some investment. How did you find your partner?
Funny story. Our partner's wife grew up in our same neighborhood.
Oh, that's great.
It is.
So use your network. It doesn't have to be business necessarily. It could be your neighbor.
Exactly. So she grew up with us here in Buenos Aires, but she moved and married a Californian gentleman many years back. And so we've known Clinton for quite some time. We knew about his background. We knew about his expertise. He had worked in the medical industry and pharmacy he's got 20 plus years tenure in the industry. So plus the local knowledge and expertise. So we decided to partner up with him. And it was a very bright idea, and that was the first partner that Diego introduced into this.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, through Clinton, we met Omar, our engineering side. He's an engineer. He's the expert that is helping us out on the electric engineering side of that and the development of the technology.
I take it he's in the US too?
He's in the US too. He's San Francisco based too.
So how do you guys, this is a challenge here that you've got to overcome. So you've got 2 in Argentina and 2 in the US. Is Omar in San Francisco or is he in somewhere else?
He is in San Francisco too.
Okay. At least you've got 2 in the same spot.
Yes. But let me add something else.
Okay.
Clinton speaks some Spanish because of his wife. Omar speaks no Spanish whatsoever. I've got the luxury and luck of being fully bilingual. And sometimes I think that's the biggest value I add to the team. Just kidding. But it is definitely one of the things that I bring onto the table. And Diego is, he's got limited working knowledge of English, but sometimes conversation and discussions online can get a little bit quick and fast paced and too technical, and it's harder for him to follow. So we've got two different countries. We've got very separate time zones depending on the time of the year. San Francisco is 4 to 5 hours behind us, and that faces yet another challenge, plus the language barrier.
Yeah.
Added to that, currently we've retained the services of an electric design team that's based out of Mexico. And when you and I met, what was it, 2 weeks ago in DC, before our meeting, we had a project follow-up call. And it was 5 of us on the call, and we were in 4 different time zones.
So you use Skype for this communication, or how do you, since everybody's in different countries, and what's the best tool that you've found to bring everybody together reliably?
Well, for day-to-day chatting conversation, we've got a couple of WhatsApp groups that get the job done very, very well.
And WhatsApp, if you guys don't know what that is, it's a phone app that allows you to chat with people from all over the world. And it usually runs off Wi-Fi or your data plan, kind of like Slack, if you've heard of Slack.
Exactly. And I know it's not overly popular in the US, but it's an app that has more than 1 billion downloads worldwide. So it seems that everybody else other than the US is using it, but my US based friends don't use it very much.
I used it for a little bit. My husband is former military, and he was in Indonesia as more kind of as a consulting role. And so he could have access to his regular phone, and that worked out great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it does wonders for group texting. We can share files, we can share documents. It works with pictures, video. It works well. It works well. It doesn't have a group call feature. It has a two-way call, but both voice and video. But for meeting, we either use Skype, which is very, very convenient, or we use some free conferencing services that are available online. Either way works, but Skype works the best. We can share screens. We can share with the rest of the team where the progress is, what are we doing. Don't forget that we're scattered, and we subcontract services from vendors scattered across the globe. So we are a very small 4-person startup, and yet we're already global. It's the beauty of starting up a business in this day and age.
Yeah,
you become global before you even become a company.
Yeah. So we were talking about this earlier before we started recording the podcast, and we were just talking about entrepreneurial startup life along with a family. So you have your hands full with 3 girls. You said 1, 4, and 6, correct?
Exactly.
So what's your secret, or how do you personally make time for your family and enjoy that, but also dedicate a lot of energy to this startup and keeping that going?
Well, first of all, let's go to the secret. The secret relies, like for every man out there, on the wife. She is fantastic in keeping the family together and keeping the girls in line. And it is a partnership, and we rely on each other quite a lot. But if I have to name a single secret and single it out, it has to be her, no doubt. Nevertheless, as a startup, you struggle with first work-life balance, like any person that works, and family is extremely important for me. I try to sound very American when I speak, but I'm Latin. I'm born and raised in Argentina, and for us Latins, family are very important, are a cornerstone of our daily life. So Sunday lunch with the grandpas and the brothers and the siblings, and you see 20 people around the table.
That's great.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
It is. It takes up time, but it's great. And for us, it's a very valuable part of our regular activities. So on top of that, you need to put your passion behind your startup, behind your project, and push it forward. And additionally, like many of these projects that take a few months and years before you're able to cash out from them and monetize these projects, you still need to do some work that is revenue generating, because you need to keep up with day-to-day expenses. Of more often or not. So Diego's still an active professional, and he's got his practice going, and he's an active doctor. Clint and Omar have day jobs. I'm a full-time consultant for some other businesses other than Apnosystems, which is our little startup. So you need to balance all that. On top of that, being in a remote area of the world, every time that travel is involved, you need to get yourself on a plane for 10, 12, 15 hours at the time, and that takes a toll as well. But you manage. And what I do is I make sure that time that I have in my house, it's a very high quality time. You will not see me with I'm a workaholic, I have to admit it, but you will not see me with my phone or my computer around my daughters. When I'm with my daughters, I'm with my daughters. And
just separating that. That's good.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When kids, they go to bed early, and after that, if work needs to be done, I'll take care of work at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. I mean, you talk to startups all the time, and we do not keep 9 to 5 hours. We just don't. I've never heard of a successful entrepreneur that keeps 9 to 5 hours, and I don't think that passion that entrepreneurship requires can be focused exclusively in 9 to 5 hours. It doesn't work. The passion never sleeps.
I always joke that we as entrepreneurs trade our 40-hour a week job for a 90-hour a week job, and we get paid way less.
Absolutely. It's a good analogy. Good analogy.
Although, you go into it knowing that, okay, we have this hard work now and we take a dip now, but then we're building something huge in the future. Not only is it going to help patients all over the world and it's going to do amazing things, but we're going to see the fruits of our labor, and you're going to see that money later.
Absolutely. And additionally, not only money is it's key component of any startup. First of all, because you need it to make it sustainable. Second, because we all aspire of being the next Bill Gates out there, no doubt. But additionally, this specific project that Diego's leading has the virtue of targeting a very important matter, which is undetected cases of hypoxia in enhanced risk population. Enhanced risk population, we're talking of babies that were born premature, babies that have some sort of precondition that makes them likely to have airway obstructions and could have a higher risk of hypoxia, babies whose siblings died of sudden infant death syndrome before. So it's not only do we hope to make a very profitable business out of it, we think this product has the capability of saving lives. We believe this product will give parents of high-risk children more peace of mind, because as parents bring home after the hospital, they bring home their babies, and they've been in intensive care unit for say 2 to 3 weeks, and after they're released, parents get anxious that they might not be able to respond to situations as quickly and efficiently as nurses or professional caretakers would when they are hospitalized. And so this triggering alarms, producing a stimulus that has a therapeutic action, then it will bring parents a lot of peace of mind. We think it has the capacity of reducing readmission rate. Readmission rate is really high in many markets, particularly the United States. It costs the industry billions because babies get brought back into the hospital because sometimes parents do not know what's happening to them. And with this monitor, we believe that, again, it's not for everybody, but for some children and some families, this monitor would be able to help them quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. So is this the first startup that you've worked with?
Medical devices wise, yes. I've been involved in other startups, but it's the first one involved in medical devices.
Okay. So from all of your startup experience, what is some of the hardest things that you've faced, I guess, or the hardest thing maybe?
Well, for startups, it's the first client. There's one thing.
So we're even just getting to the first client.
Even getting to the first client. Funding is difficult, but revenue is more difficult than funding.
Okay.
Because a one-off funding, you've got friends, you've got family, you've got an occasional seed investor that you might know. So the initial funding, if you need millions, it's difficult and challenging. If you need a few tenths of thousands, it's doable. it can be done. I mean, you as entrepreneurs, you put so much passion in what you're doing, and that passion, it's contagious every single time that you will find a friend or a relative that is going to say, hey, I don't want that passion to die. Here's a little check, go for it.
Mhm.
But getting revenue and getting a steady revenue stream, that is a far more difficult challenge.
And I guess it's especially challenging if this is your first medical device startup too. You're seeing how this is different. You know, you've got to go through all these regulations before you can even get that revenue versus some of the other companies, like if you're just a tech startup or any other type of business where you can reach a revenue state faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. I used to complain. I opened up 2 financial startups recently, one in Uruguay, one in Brazil. When I started Uruguay, I thought that was a tough regulator until I hit the Brazilian financial regulator. And I thought I was never in my life going to encounter a more challenging regulator. And then I ran into the FDA.
Oh.
And trust me, I would open 5 banks in Brazil way before I choose to face FDA. FDA, it's a tough regulator. It makes all the sense in the world for them to be a tough regulator. By the way, don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing their work. I'm actually praising it. But as a startup, it is a challenge. It is a challenge to understand what they want, to understand why they want it, to be able to navigate those waves. It's not easy at all. And especially as an entrepreneur, you're very passionate about what you're doing. And as regulators, they have to leave passion behind. You know, they can't have the luxury of being passionate about anything. You know, they have to be ice cold and protect the best interest of the users, of the community they're trying to regulate, of the industry. And so it's particularly difficult when you hit against an ice cold wall with all your passion and your enthusiasm. And so it's a particular challenge, but you know, they are serious professionals. They know what they're doing. They mean business. So it's not that they want to rule you out. But you know, it is a challenge. It is a challenge, and you need to work around it.
Yeah. So you guys are in the MedTech Innovator Program, and tell us what you had to do to get into that program. And for those of you listening that aren't familiar with this is an accelerator program that accepts companies worldwide, and you can apply to be in this accelerator program. Then they work with you, and there's a cash prize at the end, and it's a exceptional program. And my program kind of dovetails into that because it's what you need to do before you get in to medtech. Invention idea to profitable product is what you need before you need medtech innovator. But it's challenging to get into, and lots of people get turned away. So the fact that you're in that program is just highly impressive. So tell us a little bit about what that looked like and how you were able to get everything in order to be accepted?
So, very good question. First of all, the cash prize at the end of the program is not even the biggest part of it. The network you develop through it and the growth potential and of the accelerator program are probably as important as the cash, if not more, depending on your stage. We applied for the program. From what we heard, there were over 600 applicants from 25 different countries. We were selected among the top 100, and we were invited to pitch at one of their competition events. That took place. There are 12 different competitions in 12 different cities, 11 throughout the United States, one in Europe. We were invited to pitch at the only event that it's exclusive for pediatric innovations, which was held in DC 2 weeks ago, if I recall correctly. And we went there. It was amazing. We met some extraordinary people, some fellow entrepreneurs that are doing great jobs in the field and across the industry. We were, well, I'd like to say we were the only foreigners invited. There was a Canadian company, and I know in the US you see Canada as foreigners, but when you are 11 or actually it's 13 hours flight away from DC, you don't think that somebody that flew an hour and a half from Canada is actually from abroad.
Yeah.
But But we were very honored to be invited and to be guests in that presentation. We believe our pitch went very well. We did not win the competition, but yeah, we're still running. The race isn't over. Of the top 100, I believe it's the top 30 that get picked to pitch at an annual event that it's going to take place in September in California. So we are very hopeful we will get to pitch there again. We will work on our product. We are in a development phase that is each week we see some huge breakthroughs. You mentioned my children, and as a father, you see babies grow, and sometimes the first few weeks they do nothing. They just breastfeed and sleep and breastfeed and sleep, and you do not see progress. And all of a sudden, they hit a stage where I go on a business trip for 3 days, through 2-3 days, and then I come back and the girls have learned how to write their name or to walk or to, there are certain milestones that you take for granted, jumping and taking off both feet off the ground at the same time, and things like that. It takes them a long time to progress, and all of a sudden you start to see progress every single week, every week, and it's a wonderful age, and that is the stage our product is at. Every week we've got news. Either the designers came up with a way of reducing the size, or they found a specific type of silicone that it's going to be better on the baby's skin, or huge Dow Jones publicly traded company is interested in the product, and they will provide the self-adhesive patches that we need so that we can run our testing and see if we're interested. And 2 years ago, we reached out to this company and asked them to sell us product, and they were unwilling to sell. No, we do not sell, such small amounts of anything. So go away, find somebody else. And now they're sending us the samples for free. And that is progress that happens. It doesn't happen overnight. It never does happen overnight. But we are at a stage where every night you see progress. Every single day. I exchange messages with Diego and the rest of the team. And it's like, oh, this week I've got even your interest, Meghan, in having us as guests of your show and being the first guest from abroad. It's a highlight. It's something from somebody that started from zero, being at a point where somebody from the United States is interested in hearing about your experience and about your process. It's a major milestone for us, and we're starting to see some investor interest. We're starting to see a lot of interest around the medical community. Like any development, it has some people that love it. It has some people that are not such big fans of it. But again, just the fact that people are talking about us, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can't wait to follow up with you, even just in 6 months, and see where you guys are at. And so I think that's a good point to wrap this up. And I do want to keep in touch with you. And I think it would be fun to keep our audience updated. And you just gave me a good idea to where not necessarily a full interview in 6 months, but just like little snippets of, hey, remember Ezequiel? Here's what he's up to. And just like a quick recap to just keep everybody. And that motivates everybody too. The ones that are in development and they're seeing this little progress, just at the beginning stage to where their startup's not moving around much like the babies, but then they can see what's ahead and they get excited about that.
Absolutely. And again, progress, fantastic. But setbacks, they are the best teachers. So if let's talk in 6 months, I'll be more than happy to share progress, but I'll also be willing to share I wouldn't call the failures, but the learning experiences, because I'm pretty sure we'll encounter quite a few of those in the next 6 months. And I'm convinced that they can help the audience too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a smooth ride.
Yeah.
It never is.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the show today. And those of you listening, again, if you're looking for some guidance and, how do I get there? How do I get this funding? How do I put together a pitch that's going to win me a competition to really get that ball moving? I would highly encourage you to check out my new program, Invention Idea to Profitable Product. And all of that starts with a free training. You can get that at imua-services.com/3 ways. And again, that's the number 3. And until the next episode, Imua. Okay, That went well. And I didn't say your last name in the introduction. I'm going to re-record the introduction. So I'll do that later. But how do you say, is it Aleman? Is that how you say your last name?
Aleman.
Aleman. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'll do that. And then that way it just makes it sound more formal.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah. So what do you have planned the rest of the day?
I've got a meeting in 10 minutes.
Oh, good.
Then I've got, yep. And then I have a lunch later on with an investor. So busy day today, luckily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a business trip tomorrow on Wednesday, and then here Thursday and Fridays are holidays. So today it's a day packed of things because it's my only day in BA of the whole week. So it's gonna be running back and forth the entire day.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
I fly to Minneapolis I'll be at a conference out there for the next few days. So I come back on Friday.
I lived in Minneapolis. I studied in Carleton College, which is a little bit south of. Yeah, and I haven't been there. I think my last time there was 2004, 2005, somewhere thereabouts. Yeah, 2005. It was my last time in Minneapolis, and I'm really, really looking forward to visiting again. It's a city I love.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been there once before. And then this conference is called the Design of Medical Devices Conference, and it's hosted by University of Minnesota. And they have an excellent program just to fuel innovation. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll be a good one.
Good.
Yeah.
And one more thing, I wanted to touch base with you very quickly. I believe you will be attending the 10X Medical Device Conference in May, right? In San Diego. Will you be there?
I think I will be. I haven't decided for sure because my husband he's not military anymore, but he still is at a job where he's out of the country for several months. So he's going to be gone right after 10X and through September. So yeah, I need to decide this week if I'm actually attending, but it's a great conference if you're thinking about attending. It's a lot of fun, and Joe Hayes that runs it is amazing.
No, Clinton is going to be there.
Oh,
Clinton
okay.
is 40 minutes away driving, and I am 20 hours away flying.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a no-brainer. I mean, I would love to participate. Clint is a little bit more on the compliance and regulatory aspect. He's very strong there. Public speaking and making pitches might not be his strongest suit, but he does a decent job. So ideally, I would have loved to participate. For now, I have to rule it out. I haven't ruled it out completely. I might end up getting there, but for the time being, it's not going to happen. But Clint is going to be there. So
they have what is it called? And I think it's an innovation showcase where you can sign up and get a table and talk about your startup, and then people vote on the startups, and then you pitch them. So if he's interested in that, I can put him in touch with Joe.
He's pitching. He's been invited to pitch. No. We've been invited to pitch.
Was that through me, or did you guys already find that out beforehand?
We found it out beforehand.
Okay.
Diego and Clint, they've been around for 3 years, so they know the ecosystem, and they apply to. We think we apply to all the key events and programs.
Good.
Thank you very much for this. Please do send me the link when you have it ready.
Yes, of course.
And look forward to hearing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mahalo for joining us. If you're new to riding the waves of medical device product development, or if you've been in development for a while already, Inspired by Imua is here to surf with you. Want to be a master of the waves? Text HANG10, that's HANGTEN, to 44222. We'll send you the most common wipeouts companies make in product development so you can avoid them and reach master wave status. Again, that's HANG10 to 44222. We publish a new episode every Tuesday, so catch us at inspiredbyimua.com. Imua!